Well, good morning. I'm Richard Bunch, and I'm the Senior Minister at Unity of Richmond, and I just personally want to welcome you to this service this morning. Our goal and our desire is that when this service is over, you will feel spiritually lifted up, that you will know that you are a spiritual being having a spiritual experience in the human condition. We believe in love, we believe in peace, and we believe in joy. And so thank you for being with us.
I imagine limitless possibilities. In childhood, my imagination helped me see fascinating shapes and wondrous creatures in cloud formations. Picking up a twig, I might have pretended I held a wand that could give me magical powers. An ordinary packing box could become a vessel to sail on or under the seas, an aircraft to fly higher than mountains, or even a spaceship I could fly to explore the stars. Much more than whimsy, imagination is a potent spiritual tool. I use my imagination with intention to give shape to my dreams and goals. Although my childhood may be a memory, I am grateful that I can still use my imagination to create the life of my dreams as I envision possibilities beyond the reality I know and the world I see. For I tell you that many prophets and kings desire to see what you see, but did not see it, and to hear what you hear, but did not hear it. Luke 10:24.
You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of love. I hold you in my heart. You are my family. You are the face of God. You are the face of peace. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God.
Now, if you'll join me for our opening and welcoming prayer, bring your whole self, not just the parts that need tending, not just the parts that need mending, your whole self, not just your wins, not just your gratitude, your whole attitude, not just your grief or your sorrows, not just your hopes and dreams of tomorrows, your whole self, not just your past, not just your present, your whole presence. Bringing all of you, that wholeness, allows you to be one with the world. There is weightlessness to bringing and being your whole self, because you are in that oneness, and all that support makes things light. And so it is. Now we can pray together for the Metro Richmond prayer. We pray for the spirit of the resurrection in metropolitan Richmond to remove any spirit of contentiousness, prejudice, greed, jealousy, or enjoyment of others' troubles, for a spirit of humility, respecting and appreciating the gifts and contributions of all. And now for our prayer for a new minister. I support Unity of Richmond in attracting the right minister at the most appropriate time. We welcome the minister who has been called to serve our ministry and community. The process of searching and securing the next minister flows with ease, joy, grace, and love. We bless Richard Bunch as he steps into his new venture, releasing him with love and gratitude. We are grateful for our new spiritually guided minister who leads by example and lives by their word. I now claim the path is open for our new minister to also seek and respond to this call. And so it is. Amen. All right. Now for some opportunities to be more than just this Sunday time. So the celebration of life is after this service for our friend, philosopher, and spiritual seeker, Tom Hartman. Again, that's today at 12:30, also on Zoom, or if you're here with us, you can just stay. Then you also have the opportunity to do the meditation via live stream on Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m. You can find that on our Facebook page on Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m. Very important is next week's annual meeting, April 18th, 2021. It is at 12:30 p.m. following our 11 a.m. service. We do need 35 folks in your seats here in the church for the meeting to be held per Unity bylaws. So if you are able to join us here, we would love to see you. And you can also request an absentee ballot for voting by contacting the church office. Okay, so if you're going to be absent, not only can you get a ballot, but you can also sign up for the Zoom, which is very important. And then ease into meditation is our next opportunity. Whatever you think meditation can do for you, it will give you so much more. It's a 3-week series making meditation easy and accessible. It is perfect for beginners and experienced meditators, so all are welcome. You can sign up now. The dates are April 28th, May 5th, and May 12th from 7 to 9 p.m. And you can register with the class leader, who is Barbara, at easeintomeditation@gmail.com. It is online, and the cost is $40 for that 3 weeks. And lastly, I've already dipped into the books, so hope you didn't want the ones that I got, but we do have a Unity book fundraiser that is in person or online at www.unityrva.org. We do have some shipping fees that you'll have to look at, but there is contactless pickup available during office hours. And just a reminder, our location is 800 Blanton Avenue, Richmond, Virginia, 23221.
There you go. Thank you, Carol. Appreciate it. And thank you for moving the other way so we wouldn't have a traffic jam. Well, I want to welcome anybody who's visiting this morning. Anybody here this morning? I don't think so, but anybody here for the first time this morning? Did you just raise your hand? I don't see anybody here. Maybe there's somebody out in the virtual community who's with us this morning that may be joining us, and we welcome you to Unity of Richmond. And what we want for each and every person here, including visitors, is that they experience something special, that they experience the Christ within, that each and every one of us becomes aware of who and what we are and the potential that lies within us. And so again, thank each and every person for being here. Now let's just share a couple of affirmations, if we may, please. And the first one is our first principle. Let's say this together, and those at home, just say it. There is one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God the good. Second is that we look at as our mission statement. What are we here for? And it's to share the good news that God is unconditional love, expressing as the Christ consciousness in each person. And then what happens over time as you focus and commit to your spiritual growth? You know that you've become a transformed life. Doesn't mean it's over with. You can keep transforming. But you know there's a difference. You feel a difference. You sense a difference. And so when we do that, we know that we are also transforming the world. So let's say this together now. We are transformed lives, transforming the world. Thank you. And now, Ian is going to sing for us, Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
That's the second time he's made that joke this morning.
Come with me, and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. Take a look, and you'll see into your imagination. We'll begin with a spin, traveling in the world of my creation. What we'll see will defy explanation. If you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to do it. Want to change the world. There's nothing to it. There is no life I know to compare with pure imagination. Living there, you'll be free if you truly wish to be. If you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to do it. Want to change the world. There's nothing to it. There is no life I know to compare with pure imagination. Living there, you'll be free if you truly wish to be.
Thank you.
Okay. That was Ian's rendition of Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Thank you. It was much better. Okay, thank you. Will you be singing that later just so I've got it straight? Thank you. Okay, I just got it out of order. Thank you so much. Good. All right. Well, good morning and welcome back. We've increased a little bit in size now, and we will continue to do so as each of us get our shots and as we feel safer. But we're continuing to use social distancing and wear masks, and so we appreciate that also. So today, I just want to mention a couple of things. One about the annual meeting before I get into the message. That if you go online, you cannot vote, nor can you speak at the Zoom meeting because our bylaws do not permit that, and we have to have 35 people in person here. But we will be Zooming it. The second thing that I wanted to mention is that in between the service and before we start our remembrance of Tom Hartman, there will be food outside. And so you will not have to feel faint or worry about that. You can go out there, have something to eat, bring it in here, it's okay. Debbie does a great job of cleaning, and everything will be great, okay? So I just want to announce those two things. But today in particular, I want to talk about prosperity with you. I want to start off by announcing a couple of things. And these are only signs of prosperity. The prosperity was already there. It's now coming into demonstration. We received a note from the bank the other day, 2 weeks after we applied, and we have received a refinancing of our mortgage, which will cut our payment in half. And we got it at 3.5% interest, okay? I think that's what it was. A sign of the prosperity consciousness that we have. Also, right now we're really close to $100,000 of pledges, and somewhere close to $50,000 to $60,000 that's now come in. I'm waiting for a couple of checks that people told me they've sent to come in. And last week we had 3 new people join the group who are helping to pay down the mortgage, pay off the mortgage, and set up reserve funds. So one of the things I'm really excited about is that through the efforts of a lot of people, through the consciousness of the board and the finance team, we have been able to put the church probably in the best financial position it's been in since I've been here. As I talk about prosperity, I got to share with you that sometimes I wondered if I was creating what appeared to be lack in the church. And then I would look at my own life and I'd say, you know, I feel prosperous. I'm living prosperously. I don't think so. It's just part of the DNA for a while. And I think it's changing. It's taken a number of years to change. And we really were in really good shape. When Vicki and I came here, prior to us coming here in the first 6 months, the church was about $18,000 in the hole in the red. And they weren't paying a minister's salary, so we said yes. Okay? Talk about faith, okay? And the wonderful thing was that in the next 6 months, we made up that $16,000 deficit, and we ended up with about $6,000 in the black at the end of the first year. And we continued that until we got into the building program, which was worth it, and that has stretched us a little bit. And so sometimes when we think maybe we're not as prosperous as we should be, I really want you to look at what's happened here. I want you to look at the building. I want you to look at the growth that took place prior to COVID-19. I want you to understand that COVID-19 is just an opportunity to relax for a while and then get back into it. However that appears, and you'll be deciding that over the next few months. And so we are and continue to be a very prosperous community. And so that's why I wanted to talk about prosperity today. And there's some things about prosperity that I agree and disagree with, of course, as what is prosperity consciousness. And the history of prosperity consciousness really goes back a ways. And up on the slide, you'll see in a second, there it is, that there is a thing called theology prosperity. There's also the prosperity gospel. There's also New Thought prosperity. And as you look at the history of what's happened in prosperity, Katie Bowen, who is a historian, did research. And what she found was that the Pentecostalists were the first group of people in America to really buy into a prosperity consciousness based on 3 things. If you come to Jesus, number 1. Number 2, if you give to the church. And number 3, if you live a righteous life, then wealth will come to you. In all kinds of manners, but in many times they're talking about money. And so prosperity and the word money have become one, and they aren't one. Money is the result sometimes for folks with a prosperity consciousness. And some people have a great prosperity consciousness, but they don't have a lot of money. And they're very content and very comfortable. And so prosperity consciousness is more than a theology. It is more than a part of the gospel that would say that God will bless you if you first bless God through this church. And I think that's a misinterpretation of prosperity. You see, as we look at the history of prosperity consciousness, there are 2 things, and I can look at my own history and see it, okay, that we look at. The first is that the history of prosperity consciousness is that we have ego and prosperity consciousness, okay? And ego is me-oriented, that I go to a seminar and get all happy and excited and inspired because I want to make more money. And there's nothing wrong with that. However, if it is driving my ego, if it is saying, I am rich and I'm proud of it, or I am successful and I am proud of it, there's no humility in that. And before long, you start to believe you are the one that's creating the wealth, and it has nothing to do with the way the universe works or any relationship to God. You know, I went to a church for a while when I was making quite a bit of money, and a lot of the people weren't making much money. And the minister would talk about the fact that that was a sin to live in poverty. And that bothered me a great deal. A great deal. And yet I could not tie that together with what I was doing or why I was so fortunate. I couldn't tie my faith together with what was happening because I had followed Dale Carnegie's book on great wealth, and not Dale Carnegie. Yes, Dale Carnegie, and Napoleon Hill on Think and Grow Rich. And they really didn't have in it much of a religious philosophy, other than the fact they say that many great people were tithers. And so I started to look at that. Well, I became a tither, but the way I tithe was at the end of the month, if I have enough money, I'll give it to the church. And some months I could think of other ways to spend the money. And so I found out later that's not really tithing. And that was when I came into Unity, okay? That you give up, and I've been taught this, but you give up, and now I remember it, of course, that you give up first your tithe. Then the other thing I learned is you give yourself 10% next. And then you live on what you got remaining. And I know when I was young or when I had more commitments financially, that was a difficult thing to do. And I know it was for folks. But I've met people who have done that, who followed that process. I've met people who have not tithed and saved 10% up to 20% of their income and have become really well off financially. I've met people who do not tithe at all, who are very well off financially. And I think there are a number of things that people have in common that are not necessarily theology or religious in nature. One of the things I found for me is that I was me-oriented. When I would meditate, it was all about what I wanted and saying what I wanted. I wasn't interested in listening to anybody. The second thing, which is a sign of ego, the second thing is that what I was doing and the way I was doing it was feeding my ego, as I said. And then I learned that that kind of prosperity consciousness can be short-lived. Things can happen. And I'm not saying they don't happen when you have a prosperity consciousness. But things can happen, and there is no divinely driven purpose when your whole thought is, how rich can I be? How much money can I make? How wealthy can I be? And there's nothing wrong with those thoughts if they are based on your spiritual belief system. And so as we look at this history of prosperity consciousness, we find that there was an intersection of three different groups in the late 80s and early 90s. And that was New Thought, the Pentecostalists, some of which were Baptists at that time, and the work, again, by Dale Carnegie on building wealth. And when you take those three together, what happened is that people started to understand the principles of how to gain wealth, but not the principles of a prosperity consciousness. I just want to say there are two different things. Two different things. So, what is a prosperity consciousness? Well, spent all week thinking about this. And I don't have a great definition, I don't think. But for me, it is firmly believing that wherever I am, I'm supposed to be, that whatever I'm experiencing, I am supposed to experience, and that no matter what it is, the source within me, the Christ within me, the I am within me, the divine within me, will be demonstrated as I trust that source. And that really everything in the human condition for me is okay. It may be painful at times, but I can live through the pain and deal with the pain because I believe that I am here as a spiritual being, not a human being. That as a spiritual being, I have the power, I have the love, I have the understanding, I have the faith, I have the knowledge, I have the ability to shape my life based on what I am called to do rather than what I want to do sometimes. And like I said, when Vicki and I came here, we were called here. I have no doubt about that. And there were things that you would have thought we would have considered in coming here that we didn't consider. For example, we've been away from our family and our parents for years. And now we were back together in the same state and eventually in the same city. For example, I had a checklist of things that I was supposed to check off about a church when you visited. Do they have a good heating system? This is what I learned in seminary. Do they have a good system? Well, I looked at our heater and I found out the thing was older than I was. Do they need any repairs on the building? All those things have been really worked over and fixed up and looked nice. Yes. Is it a modern building? No. It is now, though, isn't it? And the list went on, okay? And I got to tell you, you guys failed. Except in one thing. Love. I felt your love. Vicki and I both felt your love. And love is the foundation to a prosperity consciousness. Because you love others, you're willing to give, you're willing to support. That's in a community, here at the church, a lot of different ways because you want to, not because there's a law that says you have to. I believe that that law, personally, was man-made. Somebody who tithes to the community and comes here and doesn't tithe here at all can be just as prosperous as the person who tithes everything here. There is no God up there with a little blinder on, with a little accounting form, or maybe an Excel sheet today, okay, that says, oh, so-and-so gave 10% to the church. We're going to bless them. But the other person went and gave it to the Red Cross. Forget it. You know, we know that, right? So the idea is that you have giving hearts, and that's what Vicki and I felt, and that's why we came here. That was a lot more important than that checklist. I even said to my class when they said, well, how was the checklist? Because that was a big deal, okay? And I go, I don't know. It didn't look very good to me. But let me tell you something. That's where we're going because God's called us there, and those people are wonderful. And so that, to me, is the idea of spiritual or prosperity consciousness. And with prosperity consciousness, there is an opportunity for growth if we see it as part of our spiritual evolution. And what it takes is commitment, a commitment to meditation. You know, it's interesting, just about every message I give, meditation comes up. That's how important it is to each of us, to you, to take time to listen. And then after you listen, ask for what your listening tells you you need. I used to ask for what I wanted, not necessarily needed. And I could have cared less about what the divine within me was saying. But today, take that opportunity to listen first and then talk to the Christ within. And then build your faith, and then demonstrate through your power of your imagination, that pure imagination that you are, of what you want to bring into your life. And it can be material, it can be more what we call spiritual, it can be relationships, it can be whatever you want it to be. But stay in alignment with Spirit as you do it. And you will get, I believe, the result that you want. I've done it both ways. I like this result much better. And so, as we do that, we start to recognize that there are a couple of things that really help us as we move forward. Number one is that we have to become aware, as I said, through the time of meditation and through prayer and through discussions even with people. We have to become aware of what we want. And then we have to build that in our mind through the power of that imagination. We have to smell it, we have to sense it, we have to want it, and then we start to demonstrate it. And it may take more time than you expect, so it takes patience. It's not a difficult process. And then the second thing is that you have to have and use the law of expectation. Law of expectation says that I expect this to happen if I do this. Not I just expect it to come out of thin air. What kind of action do I have to take? Now, I don't have a $100 bill with me today, and I don't know if I'd do this if I did. But there was a speaker who, Brian Tracy's his name, and I heard him one time, and he got up and he said, here's a $100 bill. How many of you would like to have this $100 bill? And everybody raised their hand. And he stood there and he said, now, how many of you would like to have this $100 bill? And everybody looked at him kind of funny. They raised their hand. He said, how many of you would like to have this $100 bill? And one guy finally caught on, ran up to the front, took the $100 bill and said, thank you. And Brian Tracy then said, why did you not come forward? Did it come to your mind to do that? And a lot of people said, yeah, but I didn't want to be embarrassed. I didn't want you to take the money back and make me look silly. All kinds of things, all of which are basically fear-based. And so when you have an opportunity to grab hold of a $100 bill in your life, whatever that represents, you have to take action. You have to say yes. You have to be willing to do what might look like a sacrifice in order to get where you want to go. You have to look for the resources, and you have to attract the people to you in order to do that. And so as you look at your life from a prosperity perspective, how vivid is your imagination? What kind of people do you hang out with? Are they negative or are they positive? Are they supporting you in your positive thinking, or are they tearing you down or trying to in your positive thinking? Surround yourself with the people that will support you, even if you have a crazy idea. Because that's what we need as we move forward. We need the positive reinforcement. And that's why we look for the resources and recruit the people we want in our lives so that we're in sync, working together through the power of love. And as we do that, what happens is we start to trust our inner spiritual guidance. It starts to cover all the areas of our lives. How you sell your house, what you buy or don't buy, where you move, where you go to work, whether to have children or not have children. It will heal relationships. It will bring you in oneness. And that's the power of a prosperity consciousness. So, what I'd like to share with you, and it may not be the last slide, but it's going to be the last slide, is let's be prosperous. But you know what I say to you? Is let's continue to be prosperous. Thank you. Ah. And so now let's take that moment to prepare ourselves for meditation. And I would like for you, in this time of meditation, just to relax and to say, Spirit, I surrender. Guide me. Spirit, I surrender. Guide me. And let's begin by feeling the presence of the silence. I know, I affirm that the presence of the silence is in this place. It is allowing you to relax, knowing that in the silence is a safe place to be. And as I go into the silence, as you go into the silence, surrender. Let go. Let the divine within you flow from your heart space. And feel the prosperity of the Christ in you. I surrender to the silence. I surrender to love. I surrender to the future. I surrender the past as I sit in this now moment. And so it's in a state of total surrender to the divine within that we are able to become divine expressions. We are able to demonstrate the love, the light, and the glory of the Christ within. And as we demonstrate that, we find our relationships are stronger. Our faith is stronger. Our love is more powerful. And that it all is well. Because we know as spiritual beings, the human condition is for our good, for our growth, and for our way of connecting to Spirit itself. And so now gently come back to this place, feeling that sense of surrender, knowing that all is well, and that you are truly, truly prosperous. Namaste. Okay, I'm supposed to thank some people now. Debbie, thank you for being here early this morning and helping set up the food out there, and for all the work that you do during the week also. Thank you so much. Kristen, thank you wherever you are. She's probably at her computer for the work that she's doing and support. To our audio, oh, there she is back there in the sound. See, she's a person of many talents. Also to Tasha and to Bernice, thank you so much for being here on a regular basis and making the system work. I have had numerous people in the last couple months talk about the new cameras, the difference it's making, and how well the system is working overall. So thank you guys for making that happen. And Ian, thank you for singing that song, Inspiration Plus, okay? Forrest, thank you for being here, my friend, always. You are such a talent and such a love. Thank you. And so, then there's, yes? Where is she? Penelope, come here. She's here. She hides in the corner a lot sometimes. Come on up here. Let's say happy birthday, okay? We haven't done this for a while.
As long as I don't have to say how old I am.
No, you don't have to tell anybody. You don't have to tell anybody that you're 40 years old, okay? All right. Thank you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Thank you. Thank you for what you do. Thank you. Yes, you do. And we love you. Thank you for that. And I'm sure I probably missed somebody, and if I did, I apologize, but I thank you, except, who have I missed? Oh, that young lady. How are you doing? I'm showing my age. It's not Aaron, it's Kara, thank you. Just forget that, guys, okay? Thank you so much. You are always so dependable and so lovely as you're here. And I appreciate it. Okay, so let's say our prosperity blessing today, and let's say it with gusto this morning. Divine love, expressing through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am grateful. Thank you. And now, somewhere over the rainbow.
Yes, actually this time.
Somewhere over the rainbow, way that you dreamed of once in a lullaby. Oh, somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly, and the dreams that you dreamed of, dreams really do come true. Ooh, someday I'll wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where trouble melts like lemon drops, high above the chimney top. That's where you'll find me, oh, somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly, and the dreams that you dare to, oh why can't I someday I'll wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where trouble melts like lemon drops, high above the chimney top. That's where you'll find me, oh, somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, and the dreams that you dare to, oh, why can't I? Thank you.
We give thanks to the gifts that will support our mission of creating a spiritually awakened world. And our prayer of protection before we leave. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with